And welcome back to Daily Wrap. Joe Concha, Rick Unger here, along with Heather Hampton and best-selling New York Times author Dan Hampton, whose new book, The Hunter Killers, hits bookstores tomorrow and will be available online tomorrow as well. Well, Social Security is often considered the third rail of politics, but potential 2016 hopeful Jeb Bush is jumping right on and says the U.S. should consider raising the retirement age.
But we need to look over the horizon and begin to phase in over an extended period of time, going from 65 to 68 or 70. And that by itself will help sustain the retirement system for anybody under the age of 40.
What about means testing?
I think it ought to be considered for sure.
Okay, no specifics on the means testing, but potential rival Chris Christie also called for a means test during his visit to New Hampshire in April. Christie wants to eliminate Social Security benefits for those earning $200,000 or more. Marco Rubio also says we should look at raising the retirement age. Hillary Clinton hasn't said much about what she'd do to bolster Social Security, only saying Republicans are, quote, just wrong for wanting to make major changes. All, of course, aren't as extreme as fictional Democratic President Frank Underwood, who says Social Security benefits could go away altogether.
We've been crippled by Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, by welfare, by entitlements. And that is the root of the problem. Entitlements. Let me be clear. You are entitled to nothing. You are entitled to nothing.
Yep, that's a Democrat speaking, folks, by the way, as Rick just pointed out. Once again, Frank Underwood. Anyway, so how will this tough medicine from Jeb Bush and some of the other GOP hopefuls play out with voters? Rick Unger.
I get into enormous trouble with my progressive friends whenever I talk about this, but I'm going to do it anyhow. Look, what Jeb Bush is suggesting is far from radical. People don't seem to realize it, but to get your full retirement benefits today, it's 66 years old. He's talking about going 67 to 70. So this is not like a major thing in the age where we live, what, a generation longer than when the ages were originally set. It was changed in 83. There's that, plus the means testing. Folks, it's called Social Security insurance. That is a key word. It's insurance because you don't know how your life is going to turn out. If you don't make a lot of money, if you aren't able to save a lot of money, then it's there for you. You paid into it, you deserve it. But if you're somebody who has been fortunate in life, do you really need that check for $1,500 a month? No, you really don't. And I agree with them completely. So my Democratic friends want to throw me out of the union for saying this stuff, but it's the right answer.
Brave man. Chris Christie's idea of saying if you make over $200,000, guess what? You forfeit it. What if you lived kind of an expensive lifestyle and you had a big house, you had a big family? I mean, do you agree with the threshold?
I don't know what the threshold should be, and it may be something, a threshold as to what you are actually have saved or what you have made it currently. But Lindsey Graham today talked about creating some sort of a threshold. You've got Jeb Bush at least referring to it. Mm-hmm. Chris Christie, it certainly seems to be something that on the Republican side we're going to be talking about because we've got to do something. It's just not sustainable.
And do you think Hillary Clinton has remotely any courage to bring this up, or will she just say Republicans are trying to steal Social Security?
She's going to have to at some point because Martin O'Malley is. Mm-hmm. Martin O'Malley is bringing it up. He's behind it. He wants Social Security to be even broader than it already is. So she's going to have no choice.
Well, she'll have to go that direction. There's no way that Hillary Clinton will say what I just said. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
No, she'll have no choice. With Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley pushing her. That's right, because you are special.
I'm an honest Democrat.
Mr. Hampton, do you think that it should go away, or not go away, but at least as far as saving it, would you raise taxes to save it? What's your stance on
I'm
the
going to be the dark horse here, okay? And I'm gonna say that if you've paid into this all your life, okay, then you're just as, I'm not going to use the entitlement word, but you should get what you paid into it, just like somebody who didn't or wasn't as fortunate or didn't try as hard as you did. Okay, I don't see why you should be penalized for being successful and having more money. You truly worked for it, you paid into it just like everybody else. X percent of my income is the same hurt locker, if you will, as X percent of somebody else's income. So why shouldn't I get it back no matter how much I make?
It's an insurance policy.
It is.
You have a home. You no doubt have fire insurance on your home. You don't root for the house to burn down so you can get a return on your premiums.
Like you said, it's insurance. You don't know how your life is going to turn out. So why are you rolling the dice here? And I don't think it's fair to do that to people who have paid into this all their life.
Well, but if their life works out well,
yeah,
and they don't need it, why not save it for people?
What is that? Where is that point?
It's like the that's a fair question, and I don't know what the right answer is.
I don't either.
But it's the same thing with the insurance. When you pay into your health insurance or your fire insurance, whatever, it creates a pool, and it's healthier for that pool to be there. It's healthier if my house doesn't burn down. I don't want it to burn down just so I can get a return on that. Should be the same with Social Security.
And you'd like to think that people who have that kind of money would say, I don't want it, or somehow
But
give it back to the
we
system,
won't.
but that just doesn't
No, it
happen.
doesn't happen.
No, that never happens. Because for that exact point, that you've been paying into something that is
Right.
money that you've been paying into,
Right.
people feel entitled to it.
the return.
The average age, I think Rick said it was 93, right? This was
It was changed in
Changed.
83.
83.
Yeah.
Okay. Since that time,
Right.
it used to be something like 72. It's over 80 now. So it only makes sense that
Yeah,
people work a
it's-
little bit longer. Do you
Absolutely.
think we're
No,
such a selfish country that we would say, no, I'm 65, I'm out, that's it,
There's
and I'm going to
always-
vote against anybody who tells me I have to work
I
longer?
think people
don't
want to
think so.
work.
I do too.
I
People
think
do
they
want
want to
to. I
work.
think that's
And to
right.
go back to the initial question is, one way to do it might be offer an opt-out option where, hey, if I make so much money I don't need this, then give me something for it. Give me a tax break
That's right.
in
Yeah,
return
that's
for
It's not a bad
me
idea.
foregoing my Social
Right.
Security check or something, right?
Yeah,
And then
it's
there's
a
also
better-
the question of people who do very hard physical labor. It makes sense to take a look at their situation, and maybe it's a little different.
Well, and I think that's the question we're coming down to is how do you decide?
Right.
You know, and Chris Christie's number, that 200,000, seems kind of arbitrary
little
and
low,
not really.
right.
I think if you declare that you're going to live at the Villages, you forfeit it immediately. That is the end of it. That
there you
or
go.
Del
That's
Boca
gonna be the
Vista,
point.
either one of those two retirement
done.
communities,
Del
then
Boca
it's
Vista.
No
over.
Social Security for you.
Agreed, indeed. Anyway, coming up, another Republican contender tosses his hat into the ring for 2016. It's a daily occurrence. And Carly Fiorina warns the United States is in grave danger over something former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton did in office. What's she talking about? We'll tell you next. Don't go anywhere.